Welcome back to Kumasao Reviews. What we're looking at is GCreations, their SRK-01 Thunderous. Their homage to the Dinobot Sludge, and the first in their Shuriken Combiner, which you can see on the box in the back once I clear some stuff out. But speaking of the stuff in the front here, just a quick size comparison to start things off. We've got Fans Project's Columpio, as well as Classic Optimus Prime. You can see this thing is huge. Go ahead and get a measurement here. It's just under 8 inches, about 7 3/4, head to toe. This is a really big Voyager. Get him out of the way. And you can see in comparison to Fans Project version of the same character, it's really just overall beefier in comparison, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but, or a good thing, bad thing, whatever. To each their own. But aesthetically, they're quite a bit different too. Where this one has a very much so anime look, I think this one is more, it looks more like a masterpiece in terms of stylization. And not necessarily in terms of tune accuracy, because it's definitely their own take on Sludge. But if you just look at the overall styling, the metallics and things, it reminds me a lot more of Masterpiece Grimlock than it does any other Classics toy I've seen. Get Columpio out of the way there. Alright, now, just taking a look at the box itself, nice and big. The theme of this is just huge. They want you to let you know this thing is massive before you even take it out. It also comes with a really nice card here. Specs on the back. And just keep that out. Comes with its foot, which does have some gimmicks in itself. 2 blasters, 2 swords. And look at Thunderous himself here. It's gorgeous. And you'll see more when I transform into all mode, but I mean, god, jeez. The chrome, the paint apps, it just looks well. It presents itself very well, and I would say it's surprisingly light for its size. It doesn't have like a light or flimsy feel, but you would expect something that's this massive to just be more hefty. Not saying the plastic's hollow or anything like that, because it doesn't feel like that, but the weight just feels distributed instead of like a big block. Alright, so there's that. Looking at its posability, ball jointed head, good clearance for upward and downward. Now, this is double hinged. Not necessarily a problem, but I have found that when I move the shoulders up and down, they'll have to hinge from up to down for the transformation more than anything. To alt mode, it does come off the ball joint. It doesn't seem to be doing it now. Maybe now that I've done it a couple of times, it's kind of worked itself and loosened, but really tight ratchets there. Elbow bend, it's at least 90 degrees there, which is good. Double jointed. Wrist swivel. Do the fingers come out here? I'm not sure. They look like they do, but they don't. Alright. Waist swivel. Not ratcheting. That's for the transformation, not for the actual, whatever, the actual thigh swing is inside of this piece. But still tight. For having everything there, the tail you can see, the kibble there, good amount of knee bend, ankle tilts, and you can see from the inside here, a nice balance from front to back, with an actual solid underside there. So good stability for him. Let's actually go ahead and get him into a pose. Now what's cool is that you can use either the swords, or see what I mean with the ball joint coming out. It's not that the ball joint's loose, it's just that this is so dang tight that it's out of control. Alright. Yeah. Now I wish that there was turn here, but there's not. Kind of limits the outward shoulder movement a bit. But what we'll do, these guns here, they have handles that pop up. Unfortunately, they're not 5mm pegs, but they work. And these guns are huge. They're solid. That's a testament to how strong the ball joints are. See what I mean? Get that straightened out. Alright. Now we can take a look at this gimmick too. Just so you know, the sword's same peg size. The foot splits. And these guns have them too. But I'm showing you on the feet here. They have 2 pegs that come out, and you could either put them on the dinosaur mode back or front shoulders. So for this, just to kind of balance it out, the peg's pretty tight, so make sure to put it all the way in, which I did not. And I'm actually gonna take that out. Yeah, this is just nothing nail polish can't fix, but first time I've tried it. These guns are huge and long. I'm not going to edit this out because it's part of the toy. And the cool part is you can angle the guns up. Zoom out some so you can see how it all looks here. I like that their take on the Dinobots aren't just big dinosaurs. They're actually weaponized. I mean, these are just big war machines, and it's great. I can't wait to see their take on the rest of them. Now what we're going to do is get this guy transformed into his all mode. Alright, start by taking his arms out, as you can see. And these just flip over. Alright, there are 2 small tabs. Let me make sure they're in the light so you can see them. 2 small tabs right there. It's dark, so you might not be able to see it, but there's a split on the underside of each wrist, and that's what you want to tab in to make sure they're tight. And they tab in easy, just aim for it. From there, take these, put them back, the feet, just turn them around. And for the head, simple. Just open up that clear chest piece there. And I really love the way the clear parts look on this. I'm not normally a fan, but with the actual molded plastic chrome underneath, it looks really good in hand. Okay. Next, these just pull out. It might not be noticeable on camera, but it's pretty significant when you have it in hand. You can tell when they're out. You'll see the black piece underneath that they slide on. So, you'll know. And they're not too crazy hard to pull out. Now turning them around here. The reason I turned the torso around was just because it's easier to get around. I'm going to turn it right back around after I'm done. Alright. So we're hinging those up. We are taking these 2 bottom hinges with this piece. We're moving them out. Okay. Other side. Okay. can see there what you got going on. Now, not tricky, but look at the instructions to make sure you got it right. Bring the hips themselves down, straighten out the legs, and it'll be a lot easier when you transform it, but from there, it's like tricky, but it's not. Bring each leg, turn it around, and then this whole part slides down. Okay? So, other side, bring it around, like so, and then the whole hinge. Bring it in. You can clip these together. And it's still not in the way, so bring the waist back around, then or after. Now the tail. And I did forget a part, but it's not too bad. I'll show you guys in a second. I like this. This has a transformation that you don't necessarily have to do specifically in order. Alright. These two black pieces, just extend them out. Then bring them both back around. You don't have to pull it apart or anything like that. And then they peg in together right there. So what I'm going to do, retab the tail. Make sure that's tabbed in underneath. Okay, we're almost done. These, just bring them around. And you see a hole here? The silver piece tabs in. And I like how on each part there are plenty of pieces that tab in, so nothing feels like it's just lost in the wind. Okay, just bring those feet around. Bring them around. Now, this is what I was talking about with those double hinges, bringing them back. You want these brought back. Alright. Now it's straight. Bringing it back. And two. Just turn the feet around. Okay. So last part is going to be the head. Two clips. There are two slots in these lighter red sections right here, right underneath them. So what you do, this whole hinge comes down and around. And you kind of have to do some wiggling. It's hard to see in the dark, but what I do, I kind of tab one side in first, and then bring it down so the other side fits in. Alright. And of course, somehow I have managed to mess it up. Because I forgot to keep the hips correct, but it's nice for you guys to see. Right. Pull that back out. All it is turning the waist back around. See? And then tab it back in. If you haven't noticed, this is a pretty foolproof transformation. We're just doing that round thing again. Turn the head. Mini. There we go. It's transformed into alt. Okay, now it's in alt mode. I'm not a huge dinosaur guy, and the fact that, you know, it doesn't look like a brontosaurus because the neck isn't large enough. I think it might be called a brachiosaurus or something like that. I'm not sure. But whatever it is, it looks great. I forgot to make sure that this was clipped in. Now in terms of posability, pretty basic. It doesn't have the movable neck, which is a shame because it is a nice feature. Ball jointed head, plenty of movement there. Mouthpiece moves. Let me actually zoom in there. Chromed out teeth, nice detailing. There we go. Flamethrower. Close that. Maybe from the side. Tail does move there. There we go. See, the tail moves. It's got a double hinge there, but when you move it, it tends to pull the whole tail out, so I'm just going to leave it. Alright. The legs have that normal shoulder movement, and then knee movement. Ball jointed feet is nice, but they don't really do much, because there's not a lot of leg to move around. Okay. Now zooming out a bit more here. We went over the shoulder pegs for both. And we will actually go ahead and get the feet cannons. I'm pointing them upwards so they don't conflict. And these are tight. Okay. Then each of his regular blasters here. Now minor, but I don't like that they didn't put the pegs on opposite sides of the regular blasters. So when you peg them into opposite sides, they're pointing different ways from each other. They look like one's upside down. Okay. There's that. Like I said, this thing is a war machine. And just to give you an idea of how big this thing is in alt mode, well, it's no masterpiece. This is classics, and for a classics, he's huge. Here's Feral Rex. Actually, move my camera back some. He is as long as Feral Rex is in an A stance, wide, and just in terms of how high he comes up next to him, I think it's pretty big. So again, another look at the alt mode. There we go. Alright, so we got him separated again, and we'll get him into his leg mode. This piece that we had to take off, we're just going to reconnect the feet with it. Now, the nice part is, it's slightly off-center, this peg, so you have to put it in the right way. There's no, oops, whatever. So let's, it literally won't let you peg it in. Wrong. The feet peg into each other too, and I forgot to put those pegs in for the gun mode, but there's that. That foot is just huge. If you look at this, the foot is not too far off width-wise from Thunderous himself. Okay? So let's go ahead and get this transformed. The instructions, they actually have it transformed from bot mode to this. I don't think that's that hard because the transformation to this is so similar. It's starting to glare. The transformation to alt mode and leg mode is so similar that literally half of the instructions are the same. So what I'm going to do is change it up and transform from this mode into leg mode. Actually a lot easier. Okay. So for the feet, remember how to do this. Take them, spring them up, and they kind of hook in. So there's a gap right there. Bring it, just hook in. Now on each of them, just turn them around. Okay. Turn them around. Alright. The head, unpeg them. The ball joint just popped up, off. Easy enough to snap back on. Nothing crazy. Okay. So we're partway there already. Now the legs, same. They have the same kind of tab in. There's one. There's another. Okay. Now what we're going to do, we have to, they peg in pretty tight, this chest piece. But I mean, even to get it back into robot mode, you gotta unpeg it. But we can just loosen those two. Okay. And the legs, I'm going to bring these pieces from the back here. Just generally get it separated. That's what we got going on. Alright. So what we did, we brought that back around to more of a standing, and then we do the reverse. Taking the legs and bringing them down. Okay? If you've looked at any pictures, you'll see feels like it's like 90% of the way there. So, alright. So these black parts down here, fold it over. Bring it back. Bring the head back up. The other one. Fold it over, bring it back in, and they just peg into each other. Now the tail, what you do, move the legs out of the way a bit, so that you can bring it down, so it's pointed forward, and just bring it back. Bring this down, okay, point it forward, should have tails up, bring it back. And then just tabs into each other like tail mode. Okay. And the legs, already right. Now this, unhinged by itself, but you notice there's a gap there, it goes back and forth. Just bring it forward. The arms have pegs that go into the back there. Make sure they stay in place. The head just goes down. Now, there's a connector port here on top. I don't know if it's loose enough for me to move up with my hands. I hope it is. There we go. They suggest for the first time you use something to wedge it up. It's really tight. Or if you do it with your hands, just make sure you have a strong grip. Making sure that's pegged in. Alright, now we're ready to tap it into the foot here. Now, these two pegs on each side are what you're going to worry about. Just separate, and you'll see the two screw-in tabs right there. That's what they're going to tab into. So I can't really do this on camera effectively because I have to be able to see it, but at least you know what I'm aiming for. So I got one side in, and if you tab in the other side with it, it'll naturally line up. There we go. I just got to make sure the back tail is pegged in again. And you guys will see when you get it in hand that the reason I did it this way is because to do it from robot mode to this, you can see there's quite a bit that remains similar. So I'd have to pretty much transform it into alt mode again just to get it here. But there you have it. Now the instructions don't show doing anything with the weapons, but at least with the two blasters you could either put it on the top or bottom of these, just to give them somewhere to go. But I don't know how much space there will be in between the legs. Hopefully it can do an effective A stance. I mean, it would suck if not, but don't know. Now in terms of tilt, it's got a plenty. It's nice because it lets the upper body cheat a little bit while not putting too much stress on the actual ball joint of the ankle itself. Okay, there's that. It even has forward motion in the foot. Give you a general view here of how it looks from the side. Let's take these guns off. It's huge. Now Rex, being one of the bigger combiners out there, it's a nice comparison. So you can see where this thing is going. This thing comes damn near, well, I'd say it's about a whole inch off. But for toys these size, that's pretty significant in terms of where he comes and how close he is to the waist. This thing's going to be huge. So that's just up to before the knee even. This is going to be a big, big combiner. But anyways, that has been me shaking the camera and a review of GCreations SRK-01 Thunderous, the first part in their Shuriken combiner. If you like what you see here, buy yours right now. ToyDojo.com. They've already got it in stock and they've been selling through fast. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and see you next review.